All right, everybody, what's going on? I want to say good morning, but it's not a good morning. Seahawks lost to the Rams again, and we're sitting here waiting for an injury update on Gray Zabel. And quite honestly, we don't want to learn anything today because if we learn anything today, that probably means it's bad. But at the same time, if we don't learn anything today, that just means we're going to be hanging in suspense until tomorrow, maybe even Wednesday, and we don't want that either. So, not really a good day. Not too happy about things. There is some stuff to be happy about from yesterday's game, of course. There's it's very rare you have a game where there's nothing to be happy about, but it's a tough one. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that I want to talk about with regards to this game today, of course, like we do every Monday after a game. I want to go over a couple of things first, though, after the break. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today. Get to it and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, so first of all, I want to announce that later today, actually 4 hours from the upload of this video, so a little less than 4 hours from now, I'm going to be appearing as a guest on the 12 Talk podcast, which is the UK, the United Kingdom Seahawkers official podcast. They invited me on, so I'm going to be on there for, I don't know exactly how long. They've had other high-profile Seahawks YouTubers on before, like Dan Viennes and Bryce, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Bryce Couts. I'm not sure, I probably didn't pronounce that right. I'm not very good with the names, but now they're having me on. So if you want to hear me talk a little bit more about this game, subscribe to them and tune into the stream. Again, starts 1 o'clock Pacific. So yeah, just wanted to go ahead and announce that, get that out of the way first. Now, there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about with regards to the game yesterday and where it leaves the team after, excuse me, after the first 10 games and how we're supposed to feel about things right now. And there's one big piece to what is going on with this team right now that is really interesting, and I think we as a fan base really need to talk about it and try to figure out how to feel about it. Not how to fix it necessarily, because here's my question. Is there anything to really fix here? Or at the least, is there something that can be fixed here? So, as many of you know by now, as of right now, with one game left to play tonight in this week, the Seahawks are currently leading the entire NFL in turnovers by 2. They have 20 turnovers. That's interceptions plus fumbles. The next highest team has 18, the Vikings. So they have the league lead in turnovers. They have one of the worst turnover differentials. A couple teams are worse, but Seattle's like 30th in turnover differential. And I mean, it's become pretty stark, right? After yesterday's game where you had the 4 interceptions, and so very clearly those interceptions were the thing more than any other one thing that caused you to lose that game. There were obviously other things at play as well. We didn't tackle great on some of the early plays, the very sluggish 2-minute drives or the, how should I put it, hurry up offense drives at the end of the game. Maybe some of the decision making with punting versus not going for it. But the turnovers stand out as the one thing that's bigger than any other one thing. And now we're sitting here and it's not just one game. It's clearly not just one game. If it was just one game, this would not be the case. We would not lead the league in turnovers. So that tells you that something is not going right. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. One thing that I've said a few times this year, and some people have agreed with me, some people haven't, is that turnovers are not that big of a deal overall when it comes to evaluating a player, namely a quarterback, or judging how effective an NFL offense is. Now, yesterday was an extreme example. The turnovers definitely mattered in that game, but I want to compare this to this. The Seahawks are currently second in the league in points scored. Now, maybe Dallas scores 30 or more tonight and passes Seattle, but even if that happens, Seattle's going to be third then. So after this week of football, Seattle's either second or third in scoring. So first of all, I just want to try to figure out and I'm genuinely, I want to see what people have to say about this. I want to see what people think. What is, how do you explain something like this happening? How can you turn the ball over more than any other team in the league, have a terrible turnover differential, and still be top 3 in scoring? It's not like this team has scored a bunch of non-offensive touchdowns this year. They have, I think, 2 defensive touchdowns and 1 special teams touchdown, right? Like, it's not that. So I think this kind of speaks to what I've been saying. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of other teams here where you would find the opposite correlation. The Vikings have a bad offense. The Dolphins have a bad offense. The Bengals' offense is maybe average at best. So there are other teams out there with bad offenses that turn it over a lot. But when I look at this and I see a team that is number 1 in turnovers but number 2 in scoring, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Turning the ball over a lot does not stop you from scoring a lot. And if you score a lot, you're probably going to still win a lot of games and your offense is doing its job. So that's kind of my first question. Is there something that really needs to be fixed here? Are the turnovers the cost of doing business when your offense is playing this effectively without necessarily having the greatest array of talent in the world? Because we don't have Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes at quarterback. Maybe we have the best receiver in football. That's possible, but the receivers around from him, they're sufficient. They're good. But we don't have some greatest show on turf trifecta. We don't have Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Azir Hakim. I can't remember his name. But, you know, we don't have the greatest receivers in the world. Maybe we have the singular greatest receiver in the world. Our tight ends are good, right? But overall, it's not the most talented group in the world. So that's my first question. Second question is this something that is fixable? Because, I mean, I did talk about it before. Sam Darnold, going all the way back to college, always been a guy who will turn it over a little bit more than typical, sometimes a lot more than typical. So there was a part of me that when we signed Sam Darnold, I was like, he can be good. And he has been good this year. Even with everything that happened yesterday, he has been good this year. But would the turnovers go away, even if you built a good system around him? And let me be clear here, Seattle has done a good job protecting him. Maybe not yesterday. You could argue that yesterday things got a little out of hand. I think he dropped back to pass I think he probably dropped back to pass 45 times yesterday, if I recall correctly. So if you take that game out, he's averaging 25.3 attempts per game. So you add the attempts from yesterday's game, it's going to be up to about 27 attempts per game. That's a very modest amount in the modern NFL. So once these numbers get updated, it's still going to be about 27 pass attempts per game for Darnold, which that should be something that is perfectly manageable for a quarterback, right? That is a normal number of attempts. If anything, it's a below average number of attempts. So we don't just have, we're not overloading Darnold. This isn't last year, right? Like Geno Smith last year, 34 attempts per game. Okay? We have gone down from 34 pass attempts per game for our quarterback. And by the way, Geno got sacked almost 3 times a game last year, to about 27 attempts per game, averaging about 1 sack a game. In fact, I think actually after yesterday, it's exactly 1 sack per game. So we are dropping back to pass about 10 times less per game on average. And the turnovers are still up. And last year we actually had a fairly high number of turnovers. But this year it's gone into overdrive. It's literally number 1. So we've done the right thing. We've put Darnold in a little bit of a low volume passing attack where we stick to the run and we allow him to be highly efficient with the attempts that he gets. But we're still seeing this. So if Darnold is the guy, and right now I still suspect that he is the guy, he's at least for the rest of this year and next year. If that's the case, then is this something that can be fixed? At this point, Darnold's been in the league since 2018. He played a little bit in, what was it? What was he, a 3-year starter in college? Maybe it was 2 years. Always tended to be on the turnover-prone side of things, even when he was good. So maybe this just isn't really something that can be fixed, and maybe that's okay. I don't know. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Just wanted to talk about that for a little bit.